Hello, I'm Carolyn Brent from caregiverstory.com, and I'm so excited to have an opportunity to interview Miss Amina Fuller. She's running for State Senate District 25. Amina, we had an opportunity to meet each other for the first time approximately 8 months ago. And I was honored that you asked me to co-write an article called The Scary Side of a Power of Attorney. Could you please elaborate on a power of attorney and the scary side of it for our audience?
Well, first of all, we did co-write the article, and it was based on some family experiences. That is the reason why we connected. Power of attorney can be used for good purposes to protect a senior's rights, and then also it can be abused. And in this case, the abuse of seniors' rights has sparked an interest nationwide, even to the extent that Mickey Rooney had issues and went to Congress and spoke to Congress. And because I'm running for office, this is a passion for me to make sure that I'm going to be protecting seniors' rights. Power of attorney is used usually when someone is not capable of handling their own affairs. And generally, as seniors get older and the child or the children step in, that's when the discussion comes up to take power of attorney to control whatever medical and legal responsibilities that are necessary. In some cases, we have found, and that's why we wrote the article, that the abuse of power of attorney has struck an interest with family members that have been disputing over their mother or their father's care, and there may be financial gain in it, and so they tend to fight over who is going to be responsible, and that's when the power of attorney becomes an issue. So power of attorney in itself is not an issue. It's the misuse of power of attorney by family members who want to take control of a senior's rights. And this is what we want to do. We want to protect seniors' rights. By doing so, we want to make sure that if you're a caregiver and you've been a caregiver for 20 years, we don't want anyone to be able to undermine you. That just comes in 1 month and takes control of a senior's rights.
They're just taking over. I could understand that. That was my personal experience. That is why, number one, I thank God I met you. It's such a pleasure of knowing someone has the same passion that I have. And also, I have gone through legislation, through Congress and the Department of Inspector General to help with these changes.
And you know why we have this passion? Because it affected my family and my grandmother. It has affected your father. And it really chokes me up at times to speak about this because it's some horrible things that are happening with power of attorney. We want to make sure that a senior's right is totally protected. If someone comes in and they've been a caregiver for 20 years, my mom was a caregiver for almost 25 years with my grandmother, and someone comes and takes power of attorney and they have other intentions for that senior, then it could be devastating. It could lead to someone's death. It can lead to their financial ruin. You know, many times people are taking over seniors that are caregivers, that are providers, that are caregivers, and they're coming in and they're having them to sign away their homes and all of their property and everything. So we must have a way to safeguard that. We must make sure that the legal professionals and the medical professionals, if they see something that's wrong, that they would report it right away. And Adult Protective Services becomes an issue because the person that's undermining the power of attorney, they contact Adult Protective Services, they report false claims, and then it undermines the original caregiver. So we want to make sure that those safeguards are put in place, and Adult Protective Services has a right, and they have the responsibility to take care of these seniors, and they're taking the information and they're not moving forward with it. And that's a major problem. That's why the scary side of power of attorney, it involves all kinds of individuals and entities and organizations that have to have these safeguards in place. So we make it to where if you wanted to be a caregiver for me, Carolyn, you need to have the proper medical, psychological, physical, and financial background checks to make sure that you're capable of doing that particular job for that senior. In addition to respecting their living will, their trust, and all of this information should be documented. And I would advise anybody that's a baby boomer to make sure your legal documentation is in order and make sure it covers all jurisdictions, federal, state, local, and if you're out of the country, make sure it covers that as well, so that you do not have any loopholes that someone can come in and take power of attorney later.
Well, you know what, Amina, I am just so excited that we had this opportunity for this interview. Another thing I wanted to share with the audience, I have written a book. It's called the Why Wait with a question mark, the Baby Boomer's Guide to Preparing Financially, Legally, and emotionally for a parent's death. I know that word death, people don't want to talk about it, but it's an absolute must for families to get together to talk about not only the scary side of a power of attorney, but talk about putting your paperwork in order. So I want to thank you for including me on the article with Looking in Politics, the scary side of the power of attorney.
And I want to thank you for writing Why Wait, because I think people are going to really need to have this information and start getting their legal documentation in order. And then when I'm elected, I'm going to make sure legislation closes the gap on all of these gray areas in power attorney and the misuse of power attorney. So we want to make sure we protect seniors' rights and give them the resources through Why Wait, and also make sure that we close the gap with new legislation. Thank you, Carolyn.
Well, thank you, Amina, and you good luck, take care, and I'm voting for you.
Oh, thank you.